Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Bedlock Gamer, and today we're doing a video that I've been trying to do for a week, but things keep happening. But I'm finally delivering on to all of you my how to set up a session 0 for Lancer. Now, some things I want to get out of the way before we start the video. First and foremost, I am not a Lancer pro. I haven't been playing Lancer. I played Lancer once. And I studied it for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, give or take. I don't know everything about Lancer, but that's okay because this is from the experience of someone who's been doing tabletop for a long time, trying a new game out with my friends. And I imagine, for the most part, this is going to be the experience for a lot of you if you're going to be trying a game like Lancer, or you're going to be getting into it for the first time. So this experience comes from, granted, someone that has a lot more experience, but just not with Lancer. This should be a very informative video, and I think that a lot of you will enjoy this perspective, as well as hopefully get some hints and tips for how you might want to run your game if you ever decide to dive into the Lancer RPG, which honestly, I would highly recommend. I honestly want to play some more Lancer. I really do. If I wasn't so busy and if Lancer was more of a big thing, I'd be more than happy to do more content on it. But as things stand currently, this is the most I can do. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing you want to do for your group is to establish what the game is about, to give kind of a description of the game the best you can, as well as to define the setting so that your players more or less know what they're getting into. Now, to be fair, this is something you probably should do before even the session 0 somewhat, but I do think it's important, especially for character creation, that you get this information out so that the players know what kind of characters they should be making and what the kind of game is, so maybe they can adjust how they would normally stat out or set up their character builds. Lancer is it's a mech-based tabletop that's a little light on the narrative rules, but has a pretty good in-depth combat system for its mechs. And these are not your standard tank mechs. I would even go as far to say that these are not even your standard Gundam mechs, though they do have some properties of Gundam style mechs. Nah, these are machines that push science into the unknown. Some mechs even have properties that can be viewed as being magical. One of the great things about Lancer, and why anyone would pick Lancer in the first place, is they got a lot of mechs, and you don't have to do anything super fancy. Like, you get access to all the mechs after your second mission, pretty much, in the game. And the mechs are pretty much like mix and match as you see fit. So if you're really into that kind of aesthetic, if you're really into a game that you can mix the mechs to your desire, to have a very space odyssey, to talk about things like narratives that involve temporal, the stretching or dilation of time. If you want to talk about exploration of the universe, meeting strange alien species, and, discovering things that change your very views on the universe, this is the game system for you. All right, so once you take some time to tell the players, what the game's about, what the setting is more or less about, now you get into the information that's more relevant to the players themselves. In the clip that we're about to see here, I described generally what Lancers are, what their place in the universe is, as that is what the players will be playing as Lancers, as well as I'll be describing the setting for this particular adventure. And as much without spoiling the adventure as you can, you want to describe what the players will actually be doing. You're all going to be playing Lancers. They are considered like the most elite pilots of mechs. You're essentially like mercenary celebrities. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. You're mercenary celebrities. Corporations look at you, they see the actions you do, and they're like, ah, man, you know what I want? I want them to show off my mechs so that all of our proprietors can be like, oh, man, we want their mechs. It's how a lot of corporations generate mana. Mana is a type of universal currency, kind of. It pretty much represents like a planet's or a corporation's assets that they can provide to the Union, which the Union is essentially the overarching government of the human race, though they're very macro scale. They don't do anything like planet side. There's many planets and many, colonies out there who've never even seen a Union rip and probably never will. This is also in a partially post-capitalistic universe. Many of the outer planets still have their own currency and everything like that, which is why mana is important. But for people who work for the Union or people who are important enough, even out in the far reaches, you can just print anything you want. You can print your mech in a day. All the parts you need, everything that you have a license or code for, is available for you as much as you need, as long as you have a hangar and somewhere to go, and get everything set up and done. The mission that we're going to be taking for our session 0, which is next Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, is you are going to be going out to the Long Rim, which is the furthest reaches that humanity has gotten to at this point. You're going to be heading out there to go guard in a excavation site that's currently in the process of possibly digging up artifacts on a planet. Now, it could be from some cosmopolitans who came out to this reach 1,000, 2,000 years ago, or something else. Unfortunately, the Long Room is filled with all kinds of deviancy, pirates, the like. And unfortunately, excavation equipment is worth quite an amount of mana and local currencies, especially the parts. So, considering as much, y'all are taking the long trip out to help guard this particular dig site. So once the players get an idea of what kind of actual characters they're going to be making and know about what the mission is going to be, then you want to direct them to CompCon. CompCon is a very good, comprehensive website. You can do all kinds of things with it. You can make your character sheet on it. You can actually run encounters and build your encounters on the website, and you can use it to track combat and to make sure that you have all your P's and Q's, in line. So I really recommend that if you do intend to play Lancer, even if you're doing it, in an at-home group, you're all sitting around the table, it's really easy. Just pull up the website on your phone. CompCon's really, really good. I highly recommend using it. But once they were on CompCon, I got my players started on making a character, and I started walking them through the character creation aspects. Not only that, but I did have them change their character's level manually and show them how to do it because we were playing a slightly higher adventure than you normally would starting out. So one of the important things about the game and about Lancer in general is the pilot level, because it gives them access to more gear, more kinds of mechs and everything like that. And I describe that in this upcoming clip. Getting into that, let's talk about what y'all need to do to get started. Now, a few of you have already gone the distance, already know kind of what's up and what to do. But for those who don't, I need you to go to a website. It's compcon.app. Comp, C-O-M-P, con, C-O-N, one word, .app. And I have here, bam, on stream, this is what it looks like.
Gotta say, everything Abaddon touches, or orbital dropkick in this case, turns to gold.
You're so good.
This is a really good app.
And if you've never read the comic Kill 6 Billion Demons, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, go read it.
I'd never even heard of it until now.
What are you even doing?
Just pops.
So once y'all get to this point, you're gonna go to your pilot roster. Oh, actually, first on your end, you're gonna have to go to the massive press itch.io. You can type in Lancer RPG. It's gonna be in like the top 5 options. CompCon. You can do it from CompCon?
Yes, if you go to Content Manager at the bottom left.
Oh, is it the LCP directory?
And then, yes, you can download it straight from there. You'll download the 2 free ones, No Room for a Wallflower Act 1 and the Long Grim, and then install the content.
Once you're all done with that, then you go to pilot roster, you hit add new pilot, create new pilot, and you'll be taken to your new pilot registration. Fortunately, in their infinite mercy and wisdom, they've added a random name generator on here. Dong Rong Nimux. That's the name I got. Nice. I think I'll use that for our demonstration here. And when it comes to picking your background, just know it really won't matter too much for this one shot. What these do is narratively, if for whatever reason I or you feel like it's relevant, you can trigger your background and it can give you accuracy or difficulty on a check. Accuracy and difficulty are kind of like bonus dice. Accuracy is a d6 added to whatever your check is, while difficulty is a d6 subtracted from whatever your check is. One of the examples that they give is if you're a colonist, you might be able to invoke your colonist background when dealing with another colonist as you kind of get each other, which would give you an accuracy die. But if you're talking to someone from the core worlds who's, you know, hoity-toity, better than you kind of people sometimes, I can impose difficulty because of your colonist background. So once you pick your background, you're going to go ahead and hit continue. And we'll continue with this part when everyone is at this point. I know at least half of you, I think, already have pilots. Okay. So once you go to the next screen, you're going to go to your triggers. Now, pilot skill triggers are kind of like your skills. You can even make your own triggers, though they do provide enough options where it's not absolutely necessary. This is used whenever you're not in your mech, more or less. This is used for the in-between parts, or the parts where, you know, we're doing narrative stuff, or maybe even like some skill checks. What these do is when you apply them, it'll give you a +2 into your d20 roll when you're making the check. And most checks have a standard DC of 10. So 2 points, gonna be pretty good. Most of these are pretty open face and they're generalized. So apply fist to faces, for instance, is whenever you're going up to someone and trying to punch them or beat them in the face. Threaten is like intimidation stuff. Show off is whenever you're trying to draw attention or just act cool. Take someone out is literally you're going up and snapping a dude's neck. It's there's a lot. And you're gonna pick 4 of these to kind of add to your pilot at first, and you'll be getting a little bit more because we're starting at a slightly higher license level, but I'll describe that here in a moment. So you're gonna go ahead and pick whatever you want. I'm just using this as a demonstration, so I'll just pick whatever. And you'll hit continue. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Once everyone's done picking their skills, we'll go ahead and go to talents. Then talents. So you're gonna get 3 of these, and you can only get the first level of them starting out. Every time you get a new license level, and what license levels are is after every mission, whether it's a success or failure, as long as you survive, you're going to get a new license level, and that comes with a bunch of benefits. But at this moment, it will increase your talents, and you'll be able to up one of your current talents or get a new talent starting at level 1. Talents are massive, and they really affect. This affects a lot of your mech stuff. Some of these are exclusively for mechs, but not 100%. Also, since this is kind of setting up for our game, you can just pick whatever talents for now and then change them once you get a mech selected, because you might not know what kind of mech you want to get. Personally, if I was designing things, I probably wouldn't have talents selected until you get an actual mech. But something to know about talents is they apply to any mech you pilot. Alright, pilot mech skills. Another one that you may change depending on your mech style. These are pretty important because they affect some of the functions of your mech. But I'll explain them here and now, since you gotta pick some to start with. Again, I understand the purpose, and it's because you can select multiple mechs that this is kind of the thing. Also, when you start the game at license level 0, you get 2 mechs to pick from. So it's kind of very, like, I don't know. It's understandable, but at the same time, like, weird, considering that they know you're just going to pick any of the other mechs once you get the license for it. So anyway, hull checks. Hull checks are kind of the gruff Constitution, Fortitude style checks. Every point of hull you get adds 2 to your mech's HP. And every 2 points you get adds 1 to your repair capacity. Your repair capacity is the number of times you can fix or sometimes even reload stuff for your mech in a mission between full repairs. Full repairs being like a long rest, essentially. Agility. This is for pilots who like to go fast and pilot very small or agile mechs. Every point into agility increases your mech's evasion. Evasion is used for any ranged or melee weapons, and it's essentially your AC, your flat number to hit your mech. Every 2 points increases your mech's speed by 1, which means it goes 1 extra hex when it makes a standard move or when it boosts, which is it turns the thrusters on and goes zoom. Systems is your hacker skills, your ability to defend and attack other mechs using your elite hacker skills. It also increases the number of extra things your mech can do. It increases your system points. So every point increases your electronic defense or your E defense by 1 and your tech attack bonus by 1. And every 2 increases your number of system points. Engineering. It's how you stop your mech from blowing up more often than not, or whenever there's a fire inside the cockpit and you want to not die. It's anytime you're dealing with a reactor. Some supply stuff, some drone stuff require engineering skills. When shit starts going bad inside your mech, you want to have good engineering. Every point of engineering goes to your heat capacity. Heat capacity is how much internal heat your mech takes before it gets a stress level, or it loses a stress point. Stress points are essentially like structure points for the internal systems, and when that happens, you make a overheat check, and your reactor might blow up if you roll a 1. Sometimes it just vents heat, sometimes it catches fire. You want a high heat capacity if you're doing anything that gives you heat whatsoever. And every 2 points increases the number of limited system bonuses you get. So anytime you have anything that provides a limited amount, like ammunition, grenades, all that kind of stuff, every 2 points gives you an extra 1 of those, which is really, really good for some mechs. You get 2 points when we're starting at level 1. When you pick that, go ahead and hit continue, and then you'll see your mech in its your pilot's registration in full. You can hit register your new pilot. And then we're actually going to go into that pilot, and we're going to change your license levels to license level 3. So once the players are more or less done getting their pilot set up and they're getting ready to dive into the licenses, this is the most important part as a DM. Now, as I mentioned before, we were doing a slightly higher level than standard. Obviously, if you're playing Lancer for the first time and you intend on doing a more, long-term campaign, I would highly recommend starting at, license level 0, starting with some mechs so that the players can get a feel for the game and then moving on to their licenses. But I would also say take your players through the mechs. Tell them what they do, what kind of things they would need to build for them, the kind of actions that they would like to maybe take with them, when it comes to the talents and such. And this is the refinement phase. This is where you start talking to your players about what they're doing, how they're making their characters, what roles they might be taking, and then guiding them using what knowledge you have of the game system ahead of time. And this is, I spent a whole week reading the book, getting as much information as I could, understanding as much as I could so I could guide my players once some players started making their decisions. Because in the beginning, a lot of people are rather indecisive, and you don't want to necessarily guide them until the group starts needing something or players start expressing what they want for their mechs. So answer questions, give some helpful advice. If the players kind of do something a little wonky with the build, maybe guide them back onto a track that's a little bit more conducive for the role or actions they want to do. But of course, in the end, the players are the ultimate deciders when it comes to how their pilot and their mech operate. So for this part, I just recommend that you go through the mechs, you give some good examples of styles of gameplay, what kind of talents might work really well with them. And then as the players are asking questions or as players are making decisions on what kind of playstyles or mechs they want to use, you use that information to guide them to character completion, as well as to maybe inspire or to give players who are maybe struggling a little bit more with their mech design a more clear path. Maybe you notice, the group doesn't have a solid artillery mech. So you can be like, hey, well, there's these good artillery mechs. Or the group doesn't have good E defense. So you make a mech that's really good at defending their allies for that. Or, a whole bunch of things. It's just the biggest thing is you want your group to be cohesive. You want to help your players make characters that they want to play. And you're just trying to meld this group together. You're welding this group together from their various ideas and playstyle choices. This part takes a lot of knowledge. It takes a lot of experience. And if you don't get it right the first time, don't worry about it. The game will figure itself out. And one of the great things about Lancer is that the players will get access to different builds. And they don't have to play a particular style of mech. Once they get access to more and more licenses, they can just mix and match as the mission demands, meaning that they can even change drastically their playstyle choices. Not only that, but if characters want to swap maybe a session or two in their pilot or their mech, whatever you need to do to make sure that the game runs better, because getting the foundations of a good campaign is more important than any kind of continuity that your game may have. It's a lot of stuff that can be done early and should be done early, and you shouldn't force your players, or if you're a player, don't force yourself to play with a character that you're just not necessarily vibing with 100%. Because let's decide what mechs we're using first. So you're going to hit the little edit pilot licenses mark. And we're going to start taking a look at some of the mechs here. So, at any point, you can click any of these, and you can see what they provide for you. Now, I don't like that you can't actually, click. Oh, you can click the individual things. Okay. It was grayed out, so I wasn't sure. You can click. The most important part is the tier 2 or rank 2 of the licenses, because that's where you're going to get your mech frame. So now you can take a look at the individual mech frames. You can see their base attributes. You can see some of their traits and their core system. Core systems are what makes your mech really good, and it often comes with an activatable power that you can use once per mission or once per long rest, I think is what it is actually. But either way, it's not going to matter too much for this one shot. But that's where your mech just goes into to Uber mode and becomes really awesome. You can also see the types of mounts that your mech has. And unfortunately, it doesn't really give you details on what the mounts do. So you'll just have to ask me, because if I explain them all now, I guarantee someone's going to ask me later. What was flex mount again? What was heavy mount? So I'll just answer as it comes up. All right, and with that, we're done with this video here. I really hope this helped out. I really hope the clips I provided on our session 0 really gave you an idea for what it was like in practice. I hope a lot of the tips I could give for this video help you on your games when you play Lancer. And if this video has inspired you to check out Lancer, you can go and watch our session 0 in full, as well as you can go watch our one shot that we did for the game, where we pretty much like touched each of the systems, gave them a little bit of a little workaround, and then we did like a solid hour and a half combat, and we really did, I think, a lot of the basic actions this game includes. So I think it was a very good one shot to demonstrate what Lancer is about. So go check those out there. And if you have any questions, or if you just want to get some advice from me personally, go ahead down into the link below. There's a Discord link that you can join our official Discord, and we talk about all things tabletop there. We talk about things like Warhammer. Obviously, our channel is a lot heavier in Pathfinder 2E, so I'm very knowledgeable on that. But, we have an ever-growing community of people who know different game systems, as well as we're looking to expand and do other game systems with our channel. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want help, or if you just want to join a really fun community, be a part of this kind of laid-back tabletop community of people who just enjoy the game and enjoy the hobby, then please check the link down below. Subscribe if you like this video, and like if what I offered for you was helpful in any way, shape, or form. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and say good day or good night, whatever it is for you. Leave the bad luck to me. Good luck with your games, and I'll see you next time. Bye.